Q&A dialogue will be moderated by Mr. Michael Elliott, editor of Time International. Over to you, Michael.
Wow, that was quite a welcome. There are few people in the world of whom it can honestly and truthfully be said that they need no introduction. And we have one of them with us this evening, His Excellency, the Minister Mentor of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew. For 60 years, the Minister Mentor has watched and participated in one of the most extraordinary stories of our time. Not just the building of this city, this remarkable city, from a colonial backwater to the spectacular success that it is now, but also being part of a revival of Asia from the ashes of war and the indignities of colonialism into the area that it is now, the most dynamic and exciting economic region in the world. One of the single most enjoyable experiences I ever had in journalism was 4 years ago. I asked Minister Mentor if a few colleagues of mine at Time and I could look back over the whole of his career. He graciously said yes, but he said, I'm not going to do it just in one day. So we went down to Singapore and we spent 5 hours talking to Minister Mentor about his 60 years. And we called the story, in fact he's just autographed it for me, we called the story The Man Who Saw It All. Now you'll be pleased to know you're not going to hear much from me right now. We very, very much want this to be a dialogue with you, members of the Apec CEO Summit. I'll ask a couple of questions to kick off. Then we'll throw it open to the summit. I know that we've been running a little late towards the end of the afternoon, but I can see so many of you have stayed to enjoy this dialogue with the Minister Mentor that I hope the organizers are going to give us a little leeway at the end of the session. So let's get started. There's a general perception, I would say, that this crisis has been different from other economic crises that we've seen, that it's changing the world in quite fundamental ways. What do you think are some of the key changes that we now see as a consequence of this economic crisis?
Well, in the short term, I'm certain that what's happened will accelerate the shift of economic weight from the Atlantic to the Pacific. And that's mainly because of China's growth and also backed up by India in the Indian Ocean. How much faster, I cannot say. It depends upon how the American economy pulls out of this dive. If one assumes, as I'm prone to do, that the Americans will take all the steps necessary, keep their currency as still the sovereign currency of the world, and not have people lose confidence in it. If they do not allow their deficits to grow and grow, with more expenditure from Medicare and all the other expenditures without any provisions to make up for the deficits in the foreseeable future, then I think there's a danger that there will be fundamental change. Yes, the Americans have suffered in reputation, that the free market allowed to run rampant does not produce prosperity but chaos, because everybody pushed the envelope But I think that was an unfair assessment. The people who ran the financial markets exploited the opportunities given to them. Congress did not want to regulate the derivatives, neither did Alan Greenspan, who was then chairman of the Fed. So you create new and new products, and you bundle them up into one, and it's a derivative, and it became toxic. And American and European financial houses, especially Britain, have suffered. Asia did not suffer because first their banks were not sophisticated enough to understand this derivative, so they stayed out of it. So they were all in good shape, and after the first shock they recovered. Second, East Asia learned from the lessons of the first financial crisis, 97, 98, and all had strong reserves, low debt, both national and personal. So after the first shock, by the second quarter of this year, the economies began to grow. I don't see Chinese consumers and Indian consumers making up for the American and the European consumer. I mean, average Chinese spends 1/8 that of the American, and the Indians 1/16 that of the American. So the order of magnitude is too great to make any difference, but it's enough to give East Asia a lift. So I would say I'm going to suspend judgment and wait for 1 year, 2 years to see how the American economy bounces back. If it bounces back, then they will still be the predominant economy. US dollar will still be the major reserve currency. And whilst more movement of economic activity to East Asia and South Asia, it will not be a seismic change. If the American economy dives, the dollar dives, and I think we actually face a different world, not necessarily a better world.